We tend to think of scams as just these random, unlucky things that happen. But what if I told you that many of them are run with the same kind of cold, hard strategy as a major corporation's sales team? Well, today we're going to pull back the curtain and break down the disturbingly professional playbook that modern criminals are using against all of us. So let's just dive right in with a question that really gets to the core of this. You've got a top tier master salesperson on one side and a criminal con artist on the other. What on earth could those two possibly have in common? And the answer is, well, it's pretty simple and honestly kind of chilling. They use the exact same fundamental tool, a sales funnel. It's this structured process that's designed to guide someone from the very first hello all the way to a final action. The only difference? The intent behind it is just completely malicious. So let's define our terms. What exactly is a scam funnel? This isn't just one single clever trick. Oh no, it is a calculated multi-stage campaign. It's built from the ground up to systematically break down your defenses using the very same psychological tools that legitimate businesses use every day to earn your trust and, of course, your money. So that's the big question, right? How did a totally standard business practice get twisted into a weapon for financial predators? Let's open up the criminal's playbook and see for ourselves. Okay, so just take a look at this. On the left, you've got your standard everyday sales funnel. On the right, the scam funnel. The parallel is, well, it's disturbing. A business creates awareness with an ad. A scammer makes contact with a phishing email. A business builds interest with content. A scammer starts the grooming process to build false trust. You see? It is the exact same framework, just totally weaponized. The whole thing really breaks down into three distinct stages. At the top, they're casting this huge, wide net. In the middle, that's where they start to groom their targets. And then at the bottom, that's when they move in to close the so-called deal. So let's break down each one. All right, first up, the top of the funnel. This stage is all about casting that net. It's a game of sheer volume and opportunity. And make no mistake, this is a pure numbers game. At this point, they're not targeting you specifically. They're using automated software that can blast out millions of emails or smishing texts, phishing scams that come right to your phone. These tools can even pull your name or other little details they find online to make it seem more personal. All they need is a tiny, tiny fraction of people to just reply or click a link to make the whole operation worth it. Now, as soon as someone takes that bait, the funnel gets a whole lot narrower. The automated blasts stop, and the real psychological manipulation begins. Welcome to the grooming stage. This right here is the critical pivot point. That generic, dear valued customer email suddenly morphs into a personal, one-on-one conversation with, John from the fraud department. The scammer is no longer some faceless system. Now they're a helpful person, a concerned official, a friendly advisor who's here just for you. And they have a whole toolkit to do this. First, they build rapport. They ask about your day, your family, anything to find some common ground. Then they inject this intense urgency to make you panic and stop thinking clearly. They'll use fake social proof, fake reviews, or they'll claim everyone is getting in on this. And here's the most dangerous one. They isolate you. They'll tell you to keep this amazing opportunity a secret from friends and family, the very people who might see right through the scam. So let's see these tools in action. This right here is a classic line from a scammer's script. You see how they're mixing that urgency, it closes tonight, with social pressure. You don't want to miss out like the others did. They are intentionally triggering your fear of missing out, your FOMO, to completely short-circuit your rational brain and force you into a purely emotional decision. Okay, so after all that trust building and all that urgency, it's time for the final move. It's time to close the deal. This is the whole reason they built the funnel in the first place. And then comes the ask. This is the moment of truth. It's a direct request for money, for your bank details, whatever. But pay very close attention to how they ask you to pay. They will always insist on methods that are fast, anonymous, and absolutely impossible to reverse. We're talking gift cards, wire transfers, crypto. And why? It's simple. Because once that money is sent, it is gone forever. For them, that's the point of no return. So that's their playbook. It's methodical, it's psychological, it's scary. But here's the good news. Because it is a system, it can be broken. So now, let's talk about how you can write your own defensive playbook and flip the script on these scammers. Look, If you take one thing away from this, let it be this. Your single most powerful defense isn't memorizing a list of 1,000 different scams. It's learning to recognize their system. Once you can see the funnel for what it is, you can start to dismantle it piece by piece. A scammer's greatest weapon is momentum. They want you rushing and panicking. So your greatest defense is this simple 3-step interruption. First, just pause. That urgency they're creating is always, always fake. Take a breath. Second, verify. Hang up the phone and call the company back using an official number from their actual website, never one the caller gave you. And third, disengage. The second you feel that something is off, cut them off. Block the number, it's over. So, how does this defense work at each stage? Well, at the top of the funnel, if a message is out of the blue, you check the sender's real email or phone number. In the middle, if they're rushing you or telling you to keep secrets, that is a gigantic red flag. Go talk to someone you trust immediately. And at the bottom, the second they demand payment in gift cards or crypto, you know with 100% certainty that it's a scam. That's a deal breaker. End of story. See, by understanding their process, you completely shift the power dynamic. You're no longer just a target reacting emotionally. You become an analyst, calmly observing their tactics and seeing the playbook for exactly what it is. So I'm going to leave you with this question. Now that you know their playbook, which stage do you think you'll spot first? Because the next time a suspicious message pops up, you have a choice. Will you see it as just a random text, or will you see it for what it really is? Step 1 in a carefully crafted scam funnel. Because seeing the system, that's the first step to beating it.